take apart the commodities. But at this moment in time, I don't think that's much of a challenge. Sean Alvarez will be joining us. Sean is an incredible golfer in real life, trained some celebrities, including me. He's got some winners on the Players' Championship. He's going to give up a top matchup, top 3 finish, and a long shot pick. After that, we got the great Andy Lang to approve or disapprove everything Sean Alvarez says. And he's got some prop bets for us, including a lacrosse play, I'm told. Art from the Westgate joining us. Bryan Power with some college basketball. He's going to look at the Stanford game, Oklahoma versus Georgia, and the Kansas game. And we're going to end the show with the great Gianni The Greek if we have time for it. I'll take apart every NHL game on the board. Let's get to it. Welcome, Sean Alvarez. It's been a while. How are you, my friend?
Prez, it has been a while, but, like we just talked about backstage, we have the 5th major in golf happening this week. So super excited about it. Happy to be here.
Well, let's get straight into it. Let's start right off the bat with a long shot pick, Sean. I'm hoping it's more than a plus 1,600. I don't know why I just picked that as a random hope.
It is definitely more than a plus 1,600. I'm kind of looking at Keegan Bradley at 50-1. Ever since the Ryder Cup was announced that it's going to be at Bethpage, we've seen a completely different Keegan Bradley. He made it kind of his point that he really wanted to play onto that team. And since then, he's been named the Ryder Cup captain. And all he's done since then is just continued to play, better golf than we've seen over the last few years. And you get a player that, isn't enticed by, what Pete Dye is going to throw at you at Sawgrass with a lot of risk-reward shots. He's going to play his game. He's going to depend on his wedges, and he's going to give himself birdie putts. So you get a guy that's playing the best golf of his career. He's obviously a motivated golfer at around 50-1 with some of the finishes he's had over the last month or two. I definitely like those prices.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, and we saw it in I think Top Swing or Full Swing. How excited Keegan Bradley was to play in the President's Cup. It's truly amazing, this made-up nonsense. Out of curiosity, when is America playing the Pacific Island All-Star team in the blah-blah-blah Cup?
I don't think we have that scheduled yet, but, from your words to their ears, maybe we get that done.
Yeah, I'm told Congo and Rwanda are working close together to put a golf team to take on the Europeans. Anyway, top 3 finish, my friend. Are you going to give us all 3 in order?
I took it as a top 3 finish.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, but I really like. I mean, it's not. We're not. Saying anything that anybody else hasn't seen, come Sunday, come the weekend on the PGA Tour recently. But I really like the way that Ludwig Oberg is playing. He looks like an absolute robot out there. There's no, emotions. There's no, frustrations when he hits a bad shot. It's like he just, gives himself a couple seconds to be upset, moves on to the next one, and he hits fairways and greens. And, like I alluded to with Keegan Bradley, and just, depending on your game and not trying to play somebody else's game. This just TPC Sawgrass just really fits his eye. He had a debut finish of 8th last year. Now he's gotten really his feet wet on the PGA Tour. So I really like Ludwig Oberg. The only price that I can find was a top 5 finish, and I got him at plus 400.
We've got Sean Alvarez with us. Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're an incredible golfer. I think you also do horses. Tell us about yourself and why someone should use their hard-earned money to play your bets, and if you've got a promo to give out.
Yeah, so kind of my background into golf, like you kind of alluded to, was I used to be a golf professional at a course called Fairbanks Ranch Country Club in Rancho Santa Fe, just a gorgeous 27-hole country club. Kind of just got, into not only, I obviously love golf if I'm going to get in that kind of career, but, just got really into just, mapping your way around the course and to understanding, it's not just, what you made on the hole, it's how you played the hole, and really manage your way around the golf course. So I've kind of, really leaned on that as far as, making my golf plays. And then like you spoke about, I do horse racing. While I was teaching at Fairbanks, I somehow ended up teaching Bob Baffert's youngest son, Bodie Baffert, in golf. And so I got introduced at the highest level in horse racing with a Hall of Fame trainer winning. I think he won the Breeders' Cup 2 years later with Bayern. So that's kind of my background into horse racing and golf. And here to hopefully make some money for the listeners.
There we go. Sean, a top matchup. Let's get into that. And then we've got Bryan Power, Art DiCesare, Andy Lang, and Gianni the Greek all to come.
So, I'm definitely not saying, betting against Scottie Scheffler is necessarily a long-term investment into making money. But if you're going to give me plus 170 on the second-ranked golfer in the world in Rory McIlroy, I just think those odds are way too high. You're getting a golfer in Rory that has won the Players before. And yes, we're going up against Scottie Scheffler that's going for a three-peat as he's gone back-to-back and winning the Players. But this is not the Scottie Scheffler that we saw last year. I'm not saying that he won't turn it around and get to where he was last year, because that was obviously a great year of golf that Scottie put in. But he hasn't been at the top of his game this year, and he's still kind of battling, coming back from that injury, trying to make ravioli with a wine glass. But like I said, it's just he's not the same golfer. I'm not trying to bet against him all year long, but you're giving me plus 170 only to beat one golfer and the second best golfer in the world. So I'll take plus 170 with Rory over Scottie Scheffler.
Wow, that'll be a lot of drama. Sean Alvarez, everybody, you did great. We loved having you on. Let's do it again. Sean can be found every day at noon Eastern in the WagerTalk chat room, the WagerTalk Today chat room. A wonderful segment by Sean. Outstanding stuff. Guys, real quick, we do have Bryan Power coming up later, and we'll get into it in a little bit more detail. But on Sunday, this coming Sunday at 6:15 Eastern, we have a March Madness selection show live, literally live on air. And here's who's going to be involved. Bryan Power, Mark Zeno, Steve Merrill, Adam Trigger, and Rob Vino. All of those guys will be live on air at WagerTalk TV on Sunday at 6:15 Eastern time. They'll be reacting to seeding. They'll be calming Mark Zeno down because I think, and I could be wrong, he's permanently miserable. They'll be discussing first-round matchups. They'll be taking live questions. So make sure to put that in your calendar. Hit the bell button on our channel, and it'll remind you when the show is starting. Also, subscribe to our channel, guys, and take a second and hit that like button, please. Andy Lang joining us, everyone. Andy, I missed you the last 2 days. How are you, brother?
I missed you, too. Do you have a light today?
Dude, I am a light. I'm the light in your life. I'm the light in Dan's life.
I thought you said you were turning your light on right before we went on, and I was like, hey, maybe he doesn't have a light.
Ran out of battery.
Ran out of battery. Dang it!
No, he has
and
bacon,
they give you like 3 seconds.
He doesn't have a light. He has bacon. Bacon.
Yeah.
Bacon is what
Yeah, I have bacon and eggs waiting, but no light. Mario Delorio, Prez and Zeno have a beef? Hell no. I just said Zeno is permanently miserable. That's me making fun of Zeno. That is the definition of love. I will never make fun of a person I don't like. That would be rude. I freaking love Mark Zeno. And all 700 pounds and 64 feet tall of him. Andy Lang, what's in there? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking hot water with lemon, honey, and cayenne pepper.
That's okay.
It's delicious. I drink it all day. All day. It is so good. This is the Aaron Rodgers. when Aaron Rodgers was not playing good for the Jets, he said he was going to start drinking cayenne pepper water, and I thought it was ridiculous. So I tried it once, and now I've been obsessed with it ever since. It's so good.
There's also Prez ayahuasca in there, so you better get Andy's plate.
Some ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, Andy, I'll do ayahuasca with you any day of the week, dude. That would be so fun. The two of us would just cry in each other's arms for 20 hours. Okay, NBA. Dante DiVincenzo, for sure. Italian, right? It's got to be Italian.
Yeah.
I mean, that is like over and under on 6 vowels. I take the over.
Absolutely.
No, it's a push. It's a push. Okay, what do you got for us?
Yeah, let's take his over 2.5 made threes. Normally, I like to stay away from these 2.5 made threes. I like to stick to 1.5 made threes, but I can't argue with the volume and success. So he's come back from injury, played 7 games, and gone over easily in all 7 games. He's averaging 8.4 3-point attempts, and he's shooting 50.4% from threes, not from the field, but from threes in that stretch. Looks like Gobert is back, but is going to be on a little bit of a minutes restriction. He only played 20 minutes the other night, but DiVincenzo's gone over in 5 straight games with Randall and Gobert in the lineup. So you might be worried about them getting Gobert and Randall back. I think it just opens up the floor and gives him a few more opportunities. Denver is actually pretty terrible in 3-point defense. They're 23rd in the league, 28th against shooting guards. They give up 3.6 made 3-pointers per game to the position. So I like DiVincenzo continue his hot shooting streak. We'll take his over 3s tonight.
Let's keep this moving. In NHL, you've got a bet for us on Moritz Seider. What is it?
Over 1.5 shots on goal. We cashed this as a client play the other night. We're going right back to it. He had 4 shots the other night. That makes him over in 15 out of 20 games and 9 out of 10 games. Last 10 games, he's averaging 4.8 shot attempts, 2.3 shots on goal. Buffalo's not very good on defense. He's gone over the last 3 times he's played them. They are 22nd allowing shots on goal. Over in 5 out of 6 games. There's tons of stats to support this one, but this is going to be another client play until they move this up to 2.5 shots on goal.
Andy Lang joining us, everyone. Currently on a 10-1 all sports run. Congratulations, Andy. We seem to be talking a lot about your winners on a regular basis. 10-1 all sports run, 31-10 NBA run, 12-2 golf run, and you've got a promo for us. What is it?
You're running 365 days. This is an instant discount down to $99 per month. Guys, 30 days is normally $299. If you want to lock in a year's worth of plays, you get it for $99 per month. This is a long-term investment. We don't do these huge bets on nationally televised games. We stick to what builds bankrolls. These are plays that we bet with our own money. I keep telling the stats, 93 units in 2023, 127 units in 2024, plus 54 units already this year. So if you're looking for a long-term investment, this is the way to do it. WT.buzz/AL. If you're just a casual bettor, just betting for fun, throwing out some pizza money and play money, this is not for you. But you want to take your bankroll to the next level and make your bankroll your business, this is the best way to do it. We don't run this special very often. So take advantage of that. WT.buzz/AL.
Let's keep it moving, Andy. We've got a prop. You've got a bet for us in darts. Gerwin Price for Stephen Bunting.
Yeah, Gerwin Price. This is quick. Stephen Bunting has yet to win on the Premier League, Prez. They've had 5 nights. He's 0 for 5. He looks so uncomfortable. It sucks because he's got a killer walkout song, and it's really exciting, and he's a fan favorite. He just looks awful right now. Gerwin Price is in much, much better form. I'm going to need to see it before I start betting on Stephen Bunting. So minus 145 to me is a great price on a guy that's really struggling. Let's take Gerwin Price on the money line.
There we go. Andy Lang, everyone. What an outstanding job. Great segment. Thanks for doing this. We'll see you tomorrow. Lots of shows still left, guys. We've got Art DiCesare coming on next, then Bryan Power, then Gianni The Greek. I want to shout out to all the people who purchased my 5% NHL play yesterday. It was on the under in the Winnipeg Jets New York Rangers game. We cashed that one easily. We had under 6. It ended up going, score ended up being 2-1. It meant the world to me that you guys purchased that play. Thanks for doing that. Art DiCesare, my brother, it's been a while. I'm excited to have you on. How are you, and how's your? I don't want to call it time off, but I mean you've been able to breathe.
I have, Prez, and it's a pleasure to be back, my man. I have missed you. I have missed this show. I always love coming on and having some fun.
Great. Well, let's get straight into it. And let's start with college basketball. Is that sort of the thing that is, the big thing right now? Strangely, for most people out there who are going to be focused on college basketball, there's a shit ton of better betting opportunities out there. But I understand. We got to watch it on TV. We got to talk about it. We got to hang out with our friends. So with that said, Art, we're early. But are you seeing, hearing, do we need to know anything?
Yeah, sure. And you're right, Prez. I mean, obviously the NHL and NBA take a little bit of a back seat with the conference tournaments and then the big tournament. But listen, there are still plenty of betting opportunities in both those leagues as well. But just looking at some early college basketball today, UNC sharp money -8.5 up to 10.5. Arkansas sharp money -3 up to 4. A couple of totals have been bet under. The Georgia-Oklahoma game was bet from 148.5 all the way down to 147. Rice-Charlotte was bet from 139 to 137. That was all sharp money. And I would say the two big public plays of the day I've seen, Kansas State taking some money against Baylor, and Texas short dog +2.5 taking some money against Vanderbilt. Those are the two big public plays I see early in the college hoop slate.
Any future bets for us and anything you like?
Well, when you look at some of the future stuff now, some of these tournaments are going to start here in the next half an hour or hour. But, we saw some love for Tennessee in the SEC market, +650, +600, all the way down now to 5-1. Maryland, who moved up from the third slot to the second slot in the Big Ten, took some sharp money at 5-1. And then UConn, because, the Big East to me is really a two-horse race. If you want to throw Creighton in there, fine. Obviously, St. John's is the leader, but a lot of people saw UConn sitting there at 4-1 to win that Big East, so they took some shots there for them to win the Big East tournament. When you look at just the overall big tournament, we're sitting pretty good liability-wise. The real teams we want to avoid are UConn, who's probably not going to three-peat, Purdue, who's kind of fallen off a little bit. Duke is a small loser. It's nothing crazy for us. But the one team who's like the big team who's made the big move from an opener of 80-1, the team that we want to avoid most is Florida winning the national championship. That's a team where we took money all year on 80-1, 60-1, 41. Them sitting now at 7-1, and they fit all the Ken Pom metrics, top 20 in both offense and defense and all the things players and, bettors like to see when they're betting on them. So Florida's the number one team we want to avoid to win the national championship.
That is great information. What about Houston? I know Kelly and Murray put a big bet on Houston to win it all. Where are they in the grand scheme of things?
They're right now the third choice. We have Duke and Auburn both at 7-2. They are tied, 7-2 +350. Houston sitting there at 6-1. They are the third choice. I'm with those guys. I really like Houston as well. I know Kelvin Sampson has had some heartbreak in this tournament, but I like their depth better than I do last year. We know they're going to get after it defensively, and I think they can score enough, which is usually their problem, to maybe make a Final Four and make a run at the title. We all know this is such a crapshoot of a tournament when it's a one-and-done type scenario.
Art, let's keep moving. NBA, we got a bunch of games going tonight. Any information you can give us?
Yeah, absolutely. A bunch of stuff overnight. Thunder Celtics, obviously a big-time game. Thunder took money at +4, now 2.5. Over money, 228 overnight, now 229.5. Sixers Raptors took money under 221, now 218.5. That's a 3-point move to the under. Knicks Blazers over 226, now 228. Those are all overnight sharp moves, which usually happens in the NBA. You see those totals move about 3 points.
Art DiCesare joining us. You can find Art at the Westgate. Art, before we look at NHL and we'll talk a little golf, what do you got to promote?
Well, as always, guys, Westgate, just come down, check us out. We'll have a lot of things going on. We got the baseball win contest up right now. We'll have our March Madness contest up right now. As always, if you have any questions, you come in, you can ask for me, and I'll kind of direct you to, the right way that you need to either sign up for the app or get signed up for any of our contests.
There we go. Art DiCesare, let's talk NHL. It's not the biggest slate today, but there's some sexy games. What's and also some future bets if you've now that the trade deadline has passed, if anything happened after that.
Well, when you just look at today, the one team that took some overnight money was the Red Wings. We opened them a minus $1.30 overnight. They're up to almost a minus $1.40 on the current line. When you look at after the trade deadline, obviously for us, the West is a little bit more tricky because we always have to deal with the Knights, and the Knights are really good. But obviously you have the Stars in there and you have the Oilers in there. Those three teams are always going to take money and are kind of right around each other as far as liability and ticket count go. The East is obviously a little bit more weak in my opinion and probably not as wide open. Florida, to me, seems to be the team. They made some moves as well, but they got to get healthy. But you just look at Florida, and it feels like they're going to be the leaders to maybe make a cup again.
I hope you are wrong on that, my friend. But that's okay. They will, if they, they have that advantage where they're going to be $12 million over the salary cap when the playoffs start, and nobody's going to care. So I'm already making excuses for my Leaf team.
Hey,
Players champion, yeah. Players Championship, Art. We had Sean on the show earlier. He gave out Rory McIlroy at plus 170 to win it all. What are you seeing or hearing out there on this sexy golf tournament?
Well, obviously, this is a tournament where they consider this the fifth major. There's a lot of people out there who like to bet this. We put a little bit more emphasis in props and top 10s and top 20s with an event like this. It's not a regular event for us. Listen, Scheffler's always going to take money. Aidberg's always going to take money. Those are kind of some of the popular guys who always take money week in and week out. So, you just look at it like that. I don't have any, matchups that I can give out that have seen sharp money or top 10s or top 20s or things like that. But I will say this about this event. This is a heavily bet golf event. Not that the golf events aren't bet heavily every week, but this being the quote-unquote fifth major, you see a lot more action than you normally do.
Art DiCesare, is there anything else you want to darts, lacrosse, synchronized diving? Anything else you got for us?
No, Prez. I'm just happy to be back with you, my friend. Happy to talk some sports. Very fun time of the year. Baseball will start in a couple of weeks. This is a very underrated time of the year. I love it, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Brilliant. We'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks, Art. Guys, make sure to visit Art at the Westgate. Nicest guy. Also, quick reminder again on Sunday at 6:15 Eastern, the Morning Wager crew, which is Bryan Power and Mark Zeno, are going to be hosting a Selection Sunday special. That'll include Steve Merrill, Adam Trigger, and Rob Zeno. They'll be reacting to your seeding, first round matchup discussion. They'll be taking questions live in the chat. It'll be a lot of fun for everybody except Mark Zeno, because Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark Zeno does not have fun, right?
Very rarely, but we try to get a smile out of him every once in a while. But yes, generally speaking, Prez, Mark does have something to rant about as long as the day ends in Y. So yes, but
Yeah,
I can promise it will be a great time for all if you tune in at 6:15 Eastern. Mark and I, by popular demand, hosting the Selection Sunday special.
Yeah, and I can just see it, like when we used to joke a lot about Teddy. Teddy's the only guy that cries during sex. Mark Zeno's the only guy that complains during sex.
I don't even want to get into that right now. I'll ask him tomorrow and let him know what. I don't want to ask him because Lord knows we get a 5-minute answer about that. But who knows?
Oh yeah, dude.
He'll take the time.
He'll complain. He'll complain about complaining.
Good.
A great show, Bri. And I told you this. I called you up a few weeks ago, guys. You got to check out the Morning Wager. Every day, Mark and Brian, it's about a 20-minute show. It's tight, it's informative, it's funny, it's entertaining. I really enjoy that show, Brian. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate
Okay.
it. We're approaching the 1 year anniversary of it, Prez. I can't believe we've made it almost 1 year. Who would have thought?
Well, I would have. So let's start with Stanford, -6.5. You think they're going to cover here?
I do. Now, upon first glance, it sounds like maybe you concur with this. The numbers seemed a bit high, at least, and it is relative to how I have it power rated. But here's what you guys need to understand. Cal closed the regular season by playing a 4 overtime game against Notre Dame. Then yesterday, in the opening round of the ACC tournament, they had to go to double overtime to eliminate Virginia Tech. So that's 30 extra minutes of basketball in the last 4 days for this Cal team, while Stanford did not have to play yesterday as they received a bye into the second round. You look back at the regular season, Stanford won both meetings by 5 and by 8. Now, the Cardinals did not end the regular season particularly well. As a matter of fact, they scored just 102 total points in road losses to Notre Dame and Louisville, just 2-9 against the spread their last 11 overall. However, Prez, I will point out, I was on Stanford the last time they won, 73-68 win over SMU. I get they have not won by margin very often as of late, just one win by more than 5 points in those last 11 games. However, this rest edge, guys, is so significant, particularly with Cal having played 6 overtimes in the last 2 games, including 2 yesterday. Maxime Reynaud is the player to watch here. First team All-ACC for Stanford. He averages 20.1 points, 10.9 rebounds per game, 23 double-doubles this season. That leads the country, Prez. So Stanford, I would lay it here. Stanford and Cal in the ACC tournament just does not sound right whatsoever, but I guess it is what it is.
Georgia, they're playing Oklahoma, and I mean, Oklahoma coming into this off of 2 big wins, Missouri and Texas, but Georgia has done the same. I mean, 5-0 straight ATS in their last 5. They're -3.5 in this game. How are we betting it?
2 bubble teams, both on 5-0 ATS runs. Seems like it's hard to call. Oklahoma been the underdog each of those last 5 games, won outright 3 times. As for Georgia, not only have they covered 5 straight, they've also won 4 of those straight up. Of the 2, Georgia's certainly the safer bet to make the NCAA tournament. Obviously favored here. And I'd lay the points because I just don't think Oklahoma is all that good. I get that they shot the lights out against Mizzou. I was wrong. A rare loss for me on Saturday. I took Texas against Oklahoma. But remember, guys, while the Sooners started 13-0 straight up in the non-con, they had some incredible good fortune go their way. They were just 6-12 straight up in SEC play, and that's with this recent surge. Georgia beat them in the only regular season meeting, 72-62, back on January 11th, cashed as 7.5-point favorites. And they did so even though they shot just 3 of 17 from 3. Now, I will point out, Georgia had a massive free throw discrepancy in their favor in that game. Almost 30 more attempts from the charity stripe than Oklahoma. But the way to beat Georgia is second chance opportunities. Oklahoma does not really do that. As a matter of fact, the Sooners are second to last in the SEC in offensive rebounding percentage. So I think today plays out in pretty similar fashion to that regular season meeting. I would take Georgia.
There we go. Georgia over Oklahoma -3.5. KU playing today. This game goes soon. They're playing UCF. The line here is anywhere between +10.5 to +11.5. Where should we bet? Not where. We should bet at a sports book. Who should we bet on this game?
Yeah, Prez, there is just, you know me, there's just no way I could come on this show, break down 3 games, and tell you to take the favorite in all 3. That just wouldn't be like me. So let's take the points here. I know Kansas is 4-1 against the spread their last 5 games, but I am not a believer in this Jayhawks team making a run this weekend in the Big 12 tournament. Why? Well, because it would require them winning 4 games in 4 days. They have not done that this entire season in Big 12 play, which is a stunning thing to say about a Bill Self-coached team. In fact, the last time the Jayhawks won 3 straight games, not 4, but 3, was January 5th through the 11th. This is actually the first time under Self that they're not a top 4 seed in this Big 12 tournament. KU did win the regular season finale at home against Arizona, 83-76, but they do not win by margin often, Prez, in conference play. Since February 1st, I count just 2 double-digit victories for the Jayhawks. So I look at today's game against UCF. Odds makers asking Kansas to win by double digits. I'm saying no thanks. I know UCF had to play yesterday. It was a pretty big comeback. They went from down 14 to winning by 12, and the Knights did get blown out I recognize this in one of their 2 regular season games versus Kansas, but they only lost the other one by 4. Generally speaking, Kansas is not good at protecting leads, so give me UCF plus the points.
Bryan Power, guys, remember to make sure Sunday, 6:15 Eastern, Bryan Power and Mark Zeno hosting our Sunday selection show. We'll be reminding you all week. What else you got, my brother?
So speaking of Zeno and I, we are number 1 and number 2 overall at the site the last 30 days and in college basketball. Prez, if you can believe it, Zeno and I were 78 and 33 combined in college hoops the last 30 days. And right now, the deal has been extended. Originally, it was only going to go through Tuesday, but we've extended it through Selection Sunday. You can get all of our plays the rest of the season, just $198. Pretty good deal, given how hot the both of us have been. I personally, 33 and 13, my last 46 in college hoops. Big win with Maine last night, Prez. I was a little embarrassed in the morning. I was so excited to bet Maine. I took them plus 3.5. They got as high as plus 5.5. Well, we didn't need the points at all. They won the game outright by double digits. 37, 14, and 2, all sports run for yours truly, guys. WT.buzz/PP. I've got a Champions League play, that's soccer, of course, and a college basketball play available for sale right now.
Brilliant stuff. Bryan Power, it's been a while. I love seeing you. Okay, guys, before we bring on Gianni, we got 4 NHL games. I'm going to go through them one at a time. Let's start with Detroit playing Buffalo tonight. And oh my God, something has to give here. I mean, way to go, Detroit. Got the playoffs in their hands. Everything's going great. Life is good. Then you proceed to lose 6 straight games. And not only that, but where is all the scoring gone? 1 goal, 2 goal, 2 goal, 1 goal, 3 goal, 2 goal over that time. And the defense, horrible. They've allowed 5 goals, 3 of those 6 games, and 4 in one of them. Detroit is reeling, but they are playing Buffalo, who did lose 6 straight and then won 1 against Edmonton, which is incredible. For me, I don't think I can take the any side here, guys. I got to look at the over. Look, I can't sit here and say, oh, this is the game Detroit's going to play. Something is clearly wrong in Detroit. They clearly are struggling in every aspect of the game. But Buffalo's defense is horrific. Detroit's defense is shit. And I don't think this game is going to have a ton of intensity. I like over the total. I think we get to 7 at least in this matchup. As far as Vancouver playing Calgary, we got to look at the under in this game, guys. I mean, Vancouver reeling as well. They've lost 2 in a row, 4 of their last 6 games. They just lost to Montreal 4-2. And Calgary, this Calgary team just beat Montreal 1-0. And this is a huge game for these 2 teams because one of them will likely make the playoffs and the other won't. I think this game is going to have a playoff-style atmosphere. I like under the total of 5.5. When you look at Utah and Anaheim, I think this game says over all day long. I'm surprised that this number is 6. Now, I understand Anaheim is 22-37-5 to the under, and Utah 25-34-5 to the under. But man, head-to-head, they've played each other twice this season. Both games were 5-4. Anaheim has put up 4-4-3 in their last 3 games. They just allowed 7 goals to Washington. Utah has just put up 3-3-4. They've gone over 6 twice in a row. I think this game will lack intensity. I think we'll see a ton of space and a fast-paced game. Take over the total in Utah and Anaheim. And as for Seattle and Montreal, look, I hate to bet Seattle here at -145, -150. It's a tough bet. This is a team that is outside looking in. And when I say looking in, they ain't going to be, they're looking with like a broken eye because they're going nowhere. Montreal, 2 points out of the playoffs, playing the best hockey they have played in ages. They are 6-2 in their last 8, and they just had a huge win against Vancouver. Horrible spot for Montreal. They're on a back-to-back. Seattle is well rested. They haven't played since March 9th. Montreal just had a huge win against Vancouver, flew to Seattle. I like Seattle in this spot. It's just the lean, though. The value is just not there. That's it for every game on the board. I have one client play up tonight in NHL. Make sure to grab that. Gianni the Greek joining us right now, right here at this very show. Hit that like button, everyone. How are you, Gianni? Never been better in your life.
God bless America. Been up about 5:30 a.m. I love when I fire, when it's busy like this. I've placed 23, well, my 24th bet already. 3 released to subscribers out of all that. So, yeah, just a lot of action, a lot of work to do, and that's what I love to do. So, busy day for me.
Well,
and
Gianni,
I'm taping 2 UFC shows tomorrow, so I got to prep for those late night. So, exciting stuff.
Excellent. Well, let's get into some betting information. Let's start with college basketball. Slate of games going today. Conference finals are all in play. Selection Sunday coming this Sunday. What do we like tonight?
All right, let's get some of the extra board games out of the way first. 306-512 American minus 3.5 and 4. Move down to 306-502 under 127 and 27.5 and 27. Grambling and Southern. And 306-509 over 140 Coppin State, South Carolina State. Can't overlook those extra board games. Now, regular board games, let's look to 693 over 135 Sacred Heart Merrimack. 677 over 127 and 28 Air Force UNLV. Go down to 666 Arkansas minus the 4 and 657 over 128 Colorado and West Virginia. And here are the 5 bets that stick out the most already, that are getting so much one-sided action. Looking at the back end of 2 different books, actually. Rhode Island against Fordham. It's all on Rhode Island. UNLV over Air Force. I think that's a little bit later. So you always got to, check back. But that one sticks out already. I don't think that's going to change. Rutgers against USC. And then a total over Seton Hall and Villanova. And finally, here's a side that not only is the public destroying, but it also got bet by one of the groups that I share with, and they bet Vanderbilt against Texas minus 2, and slight bet Vandy on the money line as well. So books are definitely on the other side of that Vanderbilt game.
Sean Alvarez in the chat room writes, love that Gianni is giving out the rotation numbers. And I get it, Gianni, but I am curious to know, like, these people under the age of 30 or 25, if they even know what the rotation numbers are. I think it's slowly becoming a thing of the past, but it's always nice to hear. It reminds me of yesteryear. Thanks for that. NBA, bro, what's going on in that sport?
It's just force of habit. It's kind of like I when I write down my number and I put like 7.5, I don't put 7.5, it's 7 and a dot. Because with the first office I worked with back in Philadelphia, everything was by hand. We didn't even have laptops or computers. And when you had to turn in your bets, they're firing so many things. They showed us like the shorthand on how to put like a half. And I still do it to this day. Even if I'm writing something that has nothing to do with sports betting, I use the dash as my half. Couple NBA plays, 2 totals for you. 567 over 134 and 35, Charlotte, Atlanta. And then 565 over 127.5 and 28 on Oklahoma City and Boston. And they also grabbed the +3 on the Oklahoma City side. So little NBA action, even with all the attention on college basketball, because it's a decent side NBA game board. Nothing to report. I looked again on the NHL so far today. Just 4 games. What is sticking out is one-sided Detroit money, just Detroit and over, parlay Detroit and over, and also Calgary, which again, not surprising, they're favorites, but it seems like those 2, Detroit Calgary parlay is really popular, and then Detroit and over parlay is really popular as well in the NHL, but at low volume, especially again, like I said, with everybody betting college basketball from early this morning.
Yeah, and you know what, the Detroit and Detroit over, my suggestion to anyone looking to do that type of a bet is to take Detroit team total over 3.5 instead.
Then you're
I
not
think
worried
that's a
for the
bet.
weak opponent to score, right?
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
them to get it done.
I don't love that bet, and I think ultimately, if Detroit wins this game, they gotta play better defense, man. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Gianni, what else is going on in your world, my friend?
That's about it. Got a package bright and early out there because I fired 2 4% plays. Been hot with those, coming off a slightly winning day yesterday, especially in college basketball, which is the perfect time to be heating up. Finally, now we're just 6 days away from the first class, of the Advantage Blackjack course. I'm surprised at how many people have already signed up, just separately from, not even for the year, like wanting to get the blackjack.
Right,
I think there's a lot of guys that don't even bet, sports, that just want to learn how to become the favorite versus the casino in anything, but maybe they don't want to bet sports every day. So I'm seeing a lot of that. Obviously, my guys that signed up for the year, they get it for free anyway. But I didn't expect that. I expected it all to be, by the year so that they get the blackjack for free. But a handful over the last couple of days, especially just buying the blackjack. And I think if they shopped around, they saw what I'm going to teach them, honestly, Prez, not to tout it, but I told you, I took a course that I paid $5,000 for. And this was like 6 or 8 years ago, I think, before COVID for sure. And so I don't know even what they charge now. It's probably like 7,000 at least. They just keep going up. And I'm going to teach them the exact same thing, if not even better, because I know they keep a couple things tucked in their pockets. Well, I'm going to do it for a dime, man. And I promise you, they'll be able to make that money up very quickly, as long as they're decently funded and have the passion enough to practice at home to go in there ready to fire. They'll be the favorite. That's the bottom line. No one will be able to take that away from them. And more importantly, it's a skill set they could carry forever. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you find an advantage in sports and you're making money off it. It's like even the betting syndicates. They'll create an awesome model for college basketball totals. They'll create an awesome model for Major League Baseball. But I talked about the group that I hooked up with again, where last year at the halfway point, they stopped betting after like 10 days into the second half of baseball because the model just stopped working. This isn't like that. This is something you could do forever. You're on vacation and they have a casino, you'll know which games to hunt out. As long as that, whether you're on a boat or whether you're on in the Bahamas or anywhere, you'll know where to find a beatable table and make some money on your vacations. So that's what I love most about it. Once you learn the skill set, that's it. Then it's just about you refining it and perfecting it. And it'll never go away. It'll never change. That's the beauty of it. So it's not like I'm going to teach you how to build this model, but once the market catches up with it, because it's an efficient market, you now have to change things. You won't have to change things. It's one thing and that's it, baby.
We're done. Gianni, awesome, my brother. I'm going to try to keep these shows a little tighter, end them at 12:45. Thank you for doing this, my friend. Love having you on. We'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to Sean Alvarez, to Art DiCesare, Bryan Power, Andy Lang, Giani the Greek on behalf of Dan Alexander and myself. What an incredible show. I hope you guys took a lot of great info from that. We'll see you tomorrow at noon Eastern. Let's win some bets.